Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. After being diagnosed with cancer, I hooked up with my usually cold and distant boss. I even said defiantly, "Whoever wants that crappy job can have it. I'm going to become the boss's wife tonight." But the next morning, the doctor called to say it was a misdiagnosis. I looked at my boss, still sleeping soundly, and wanted to cry but couldn't. I packed my bags and ran off in the night. Later, he cornered me at the airport, looking at me with intense eyes, saying, "You think you can just leave after we slept together? Not that easy." When I got the call, I was working overtime at the office. The doctor sounded serious and straight to the point. "I'm sorry, it's brain cancer. You've got at most 3 months." I was almost thinking about sending him a book titled 3 Lines to Cheer You Up All Day. Then suddenly, I realized what he'd said, and the documents in my hand dropped to the floor. I couldn't hear anything else. Whenever I worked late, I'd comfort myself with the thought, if I can't finish this today, there's always tomorrow. And if I'm lucky, I'll die tomorrow and won't have to do it. Who would have thought it had sort of come true? Now I wished I could take back those words. Right at that moment, Larry called asking, "There's a dinner tonight. Can you come with me?" It was all business, no warmth whatsoever. Normally, I'd say yes without hesitation. After all, money's hard to earn, life's tough to live. But now, looking at all the untouched papers on the floor, I snapped, "You're such a pain." I had let him boss me around like a workhorse. I didn't even have time to get my test results, and now that I'm almost dying, he still won't let me rest. If it weren't for him exploiting me every day, maybe I could live longer. There was a pause on the other end, sounding a bit incredulous. "What did you say?" I chuckled, coming up with a genius plan. "Nothing, boss. Just send me the address. I'll get a car." Just yelling wasn't enough. I had to give him a taste of what it's like being a working stiff. So the whole evening, Larry opened doors, I got in the car, Larry served food, I rotated the table, Larry made a toast, I didn't drink. Larry talked, I chatted away, watching him getting angrier. My heart just sang. He deserved this for exploiting his employees. By the time the dinner ended, it was late. The driver had something come up, so I was asked to drive Larry home. Who'd pass up a chance to torment him? I agreed eagerly. "Mandy, can you get me a bottle of water?" His usually cold voice now sounded a bit lazy. I glanced at him in the rearview mirror, leaning back in his seat, legs spread. There was something wild about his look as he peered at me with narrowed eyes. His drinking tolerance was always low, and I hadn't bothered to shield him tonight. He must be quite drunk. Otherwise, he wouldn't be looking at me so boldly. I looked away, uncomfortable, tossing him a bottle from the front seat. At a red light, I hit the brakes hard. From the back, I heard a gasp. Looking back, I saw water all over Larry. I tried not to laugh. I'd forgotten to. I only have a day's driving experience, and I'm great at sudden stops. Tough luck for him. He sat there, a dangerous look in his eyes as he muttered through gritted teeth, "Mandy, are you trying to get fired?" The light turned green and I started the car, not facing him. "Yeah, I've been ready to quit for ages. Whoever wants that crappy job can have it. Tonight, I'm gonna be the boss's wife." I made a U-turn and headed straight for the nearest hotel. Who cares if he's willing or not? He can't jump out of the car. I've lived 26 years without a boyfriend. If he's pushed me to my death, why shouldn't I sleep with him? Besides, with his broad shoulders, narrow waist, and long legs, not to mention that face, hooking up with him is hardly a loss. With that thought, I stepped on the gas, speeding up. After parking, Larry, already weaving, stumbled towards the hotel. Seeing him struggling, I cursed him for a drunk and hurriedly pulled him along by his tie. Once the door was locked, Larry collapsed onto the bed, taking a deep breath. I flipped him over and straddled his waist. Just as my lips were about to meet his, Larry's eyes snapped open. Grabbing my hand with his voice rasping from alcohol, he said, "You really don't care about your job." I paused, then backhanded him. Not hard, but enough to stun him. I should have slapped him sooner. He clearly didn't know who's in charge now. A little booze and he's lost all perspective. Usually that's what a bossy CEO would say, but I'm just a broke nobody. I've got nothing to lose. The depth in Larry's gaze contrasted sharply with his flushed ears. He finally let out a short laugh, saying, "All right." I snorted, mocking him. "Your clothes are soaked. Should I help you take them off? He looked at me without a word, annoyed by his stubborn pretense. I shot him a glare and deftly stripped his clothes off, then closed my eyes and kissed him. The moment we touched, I gasped. Who knew someone with such a sharp tongue could have lips this soft? I tried to engage deeper, but lack of experience soon left me breathless, leaning on his shoulder for a break. Need a hand? He asked. With what? I snapped, annoyed. If you don't know how, I can teach you step by step. My heart raced as I glanced at his long fingers, immediately grasping his meaning. Just as I was about to refuse, Larry flipped us over, his warm hand sliding down my back before he took the lead in the kiss. Soon, I was at Larry's mercy with no words to say. Your belt's digging into me, I complained. Larry didn't pause. You already took it off yourself, remember? Blushing, I continued. I need a shower. Larry hesitated, then rose to his feet, attempting to escape. As my feet hit the floor, he scooped me up. In a lazy voice, he said, Let's shower together. The next morning, the persistent ring of a phone pulled me out of sleep. Larry was still asleep. I pushed my aching body and answered the call. The doctor on the other end of the phone kept apologizing, saying there was another 72-year-old patient named Mandy yesterday, and he mixed up our test results. Turns out I just had headaches from overworking, not brain cancer. Before hanging up, the doctor kindly wished I'd never die. But I looked at Larry, still sleeping soundly next to me, and remembered him last night forcing me to open my eyes and tell him who's the king. I could have never died, but it seems I've driven myself to this point. If Larry wakes up to find I took advantage of him when he was drunk, he'd probably kill me. After thinking it over, I decided to make a run for it, take it one step at a time and die halfway if I must. So I carefully tidied up all traces and slipped out of the hotel. Back home, I took a long leave from work, bought a ticket to another province, packed a few clothes casually, and headed to the airport. On the way, my phone rang. I glanced at the caller ID and nearly died of shock. Larry. This guy has endless energy. We went at it till midnight last night, and he's awake this early today without feeling tired. Gritting my teeth, I hung up. The phone rang again immediately. I hung up again and he called again. After a few rounds of this, the driver in front couldn't help but comment. Young lady, if you got something to say to your boyfriend, just talk it out. I cringed and retorted. We're not a couple. We're enemies, capitalists and the working class, naturally opposed. In the midst of talking, my fingers slipped, and I accidentally answered the call. I was caught off guard, about to hang up when a low, hoarse voice came from the other end. Mandy, where are you? Straightforward and emotionless. I quickly concluded he must have forgotten what happened last night. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so calm and cool. Thank goodness the storm has passed. I let my guard down and replied, Boss, I haven't been feeling well lately. I'm planning a trip to relax. I'm already heading to the airport. There was a pause on the other end, followed by a restrained laugh. Mandy, you slept with me, and now you want to run? I felt everything go dark. Spoke too soon. The storm has only just begun. Feigning calmness, I asked, What do you mean? Larry seemed to grit his teeth. Mandy, should I repeat what you said last night? He had me saying quite a lot last night, definitely not suitable for daytime. Rushing to interrupt, I blurted, You must have been dreaming last night. Larry was silent for a moment. I was drunk, not dead. Besides, I checked the hotel surveillance. Everything went dark yet again. He was too clever. I resorted to whatever. I've already left. You can't catch up with me. With that, I powered off the phone. Luckily, it wasn't long before check-in at the airport. Standing in line, I felt secretly delighted. Some people once missed are a blessing. Looks like running away is the only option. But unexpectedly, just then, Larry appeared in the airport hall. He approached me with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. You sleep with me and plan on running? Not gonna happen. Run. Try running again. I casually responded. Boss, in a law-abiding society, what do you plan to do, drag me back? Larry raised an eyebrow. No, but have you thought this through? Whether your salary will be paid during leave, if you'll find a better job once you resign, and if your balance can support you until I forget about this. I paused. I hadn't thought that far ahead, just focused on running. I had just paid rent for the quarter. I could probably lay low for a few days, but not indefinitely. Going back, I'll reimburse your ticket. Larry added it would be ungrateful to not take such a hint. I immediately tried to soften my response. Okay, alright, I'll come back to work for you, boss. Larry had driven himself over, and I instinctively went to open the back door, but it wouldn't budge. The other side also wouldn't open. Break the handle and the repair will come out of your paycheck, Larry said. He had put my luggage in and warned me, as he saw me struggling with the back door. It's busted. Sit up front. A frugal one, not bothering to fix the door. I silently cursed, then realized sitting in the front seat might not be ideal, so I asked considerately, Boss, you were drinking last night. Can you drive? Should I do it for you? Larry opened the door with a mocking grin. Relax. I may have a low tolerance, but not so much as to be drunk till now. Besides, I wasn't drunk, just a bit out of it. TCH, drunk people always claim otherwise. How else would he have ended up at my mercy? And your braking skills? Well, they don't inspire confidence, but riding shotgun. Larry cut me off with a teasing smile. Fussing over nothing, or would you rather sit on my lap? I rolled my eyes, opened the door, muttering, It's not fussing, it's called boundaries. Just worried your future girlfriend might not like it. Still, he caught it. Larry frowned slightly. Didn't know you were so generous. Once inside, Larry didn't start immediately but did something on his phone before setting it aside. I received a transfer notification soon after. A full $10,000, 10 times the airfare. I'll wire it as agreed. Don't say I'm cheap, he said. He didn't look at me, just started the engine. Honestly, thinking back, he really isn't stingy. My pay was significantly above average for my role, and the employee benefits were outstanding. Plus, he wasn't idle while I worked, often outpacing me in hours and diligence. Realizing I was feeling sorry for Larry, I quickly snapped myself out of it. I'm just an employee. Sympathy isn't warranted for his wealth. Whatever I make is rightfully mine. Seeing my little self-chastisement, Larry smiled slightly. I glared at him. Anyway, boss, why did you chase me down? Why did you do what you did last night? Larry asked me back. His voice usually sounds smooth and calming, and he speaks slowly and deliberately, but last night changed everything I thought I knew about him. That's when I realized his voice could get hoarse, almost unrecognizable. Thinking about it makes my cheeks flush a bit. Why? He asked curiously. Instead of blaming myself, I'd rather blame someone else. It's all that doctor's fault. Can't blame a fragile girl like me, but I also can't just say it's because I found out I was dying and wanted to mess with him, right? I mumbled I was just out of my mind. The workload's huge and staying emotionally stable costs extra. I quickly added to shift focus. What about you? You haven't answered me yet. Larry paused before saying, If you leave, the secretarial workload becomes heavy. I'll need time to adjust. What did you think? Even though the company can operate fine without any one person, they don't even approve my single day off. Honestly, it seems like he'd rather not bring up what happened last night. I smile, relieved. It's fine, we're adults. It was just a fluke last night. Let's just forget it. Larry's tone turned icy with a hint of sarcasm. I'm not as carefree as you. Still holding on, huh? Well, I wasn't the only one enjoying it last night. Oh well, no point explaining. Fine, I'll keep quiet. Silence is golden. Larry stopped talking to me. Not only did he reduce my workload, but during what little work communication we had, he'd use one word instead of two. This made me uneasy. It's hard not to think he's prepping to fire me. Who's to say he isn't using kindness to throw off my guard, only to strike later? I decided to take action. All afternoon, I sent out resumes online so I could leave as soon as I found a new job. Quitting is definitely better than getting fired. Even at work, you've got to maintain your dignity. Close to quitting time, I sat at my desk plucking leaves from a money tree, feeling like time was crawling. Work felt like a sentence with no parole. I've never felt time drag on like this. At that moment, my mom called. Mandy, are you busy lately? Busy? I replied. With what? Oh, just busy being busy, I answered offhandedly. I knew you weren't busy, my mom chuckled. I sensed trouble. Sure enough, I met a guy on a dating app. Seems nice. I was shocked. Does Dad know about this? What are you talking about? It's for you, silly. He seems decent, mature, and works near your office. You should meet. Since retiring, my mom's been dead set on setting me up. She's tried it all. Matchmaking corners, comment sections, even social app matchmaking. Work used to be my excuse, but now she pounced. Mom, I don't want to. Sweetie, it's set. I'll send you the address, she said, then hung up, leaving me no room to object. I sighed. When I snapped out of it, I noticed I'd plucked quite a few leaves off the money tree. Apparently, it was placed there following some feng shui advice. Who knows if missing leaves would mess with that? What are you doing to my money tree? I nearly jumped out of my skin. I turned to find Larry standing behind me. Who knows how long he'd been there? Feeling guilty, I hid the leaves behind me. His dark, cold eyes gave nothing away as he spoke. The tree's placement was calculated by someone my dad hired. You wrecked it, so your punishment is to count every leaf on all the office's money trees. If you can't buy 9, I'll dock your bonus. I almost cursed aloud. Just a few leaves. Was that necessary? It's like the tree set a trap. It's impossible to count them all. Docking my pay seems extreme. Are they squeezing me while they can before I quit? Fine, I'll just give a fake count. I bet he hasn't actually counted them himself. Don't even think about faking it, he added. My dad ensured every leaf count was recorded, and they're checked daily. Rich people, huh? I cursed inwardly after Larry left. I plucked some more leaves. Stealing the company's wealth was my revenge. Even convicts get parole, but I only get overtime. Thanks to Larry, I got to experience counting leaves until nearly 8 p.m. I missed the blind date but texted to apologize, and the guy was understanding and open to rescheduling. Walking out into the evening dusk, I noticed that the CEO's office light was still on. Larry was working late again. I'd heard he'd been pulling extra hours recently. I thought about it, then put my stuff down, washing some fruit and making tea before knocking on his office door. Think I was being kind, sympathizing with a boss working late? Think again. Tea at night? I doubt he'd sleep tonight, and the fruit, blackberries and blueberries, enough to stain the teeth. Larry sat back in his chair, looking fatigued. His fingers rubbed his temple. The dark shirt accentuated chiseled lines. Every move seemed crafted, almost like flirting. Noticing my gaze, he shifted his focus and looked up at me. What is it? Snapping back, I put down the tea and fruit. Thought you might need a break with some tea and fruit. Larry finished counting the leaves, annoyed but maintaining a work smile. I replied, yeah, 666 leaves. That number was so perfect I double-checked. Afraid he'd think I lied, I added. All right. Larry nodded, glancing at the fruit before eyeing the teacup. That's all? Did I count right, Larry? He took a sip of tea. It seems right. I haven't counted. He hasn't counted. I was stunned. Who counts leaves? Only you would. Larry's lips lifted in a slight smirk. A hint of gentle warmth in his eyes, though his words didn't match. Was I seeing things? The tea, Larry took another sip, frowned a bit, and seemed lost in thought. My mind snapped back. Feeling secretly pleased, I picked that Eastern leaf tea. If he's never tasted life's bitterness, he should at least try some other kind of bitterness. What's up? I asked on purpose. A little sweet, he replied almost immediately. That's right. No, wait, how could it be sweet? Was he working so hard he was hallucinating? I gave him a look of disbelief. Larry pulled a box out of the drawer and handed it to me. For you as a reward. It's from that famous pastry shop. I've had it a few times, it's really good. But it's priced higher than my blood pressure, so I almost never buy it. A reward for me. Don't blame me if you can't sleep tonight. I paused, meeting his gaze. It was direct and unhidden, burning through me. Even though his face showed no expression, I felt an obvious pressure. The hallucinations were contagious. I grabbed the pastry like a scared bird. Our fingers brushed accidentally, and Larry nonchalantly retracted his hand, absent-mindedly rubbing his fingertips. His fingers were long and his hands were quite attractive. I couldn't help but think of that night, slow, deliberate, and confident mischief. His gaze just as pronouncedly aggressive. For a moment my heart raced. Larry let out a light chuckle and straightened his expression. Mandy, you'd better hurry downstairs. The driver is already waiting. A driver? I asked. As the boss, I can't let employees working overtime go home alone, he added. He did have that habit. Every time I stayed late with him, I hitched a ride home, saving me a lot on transportation. Unless you want to stay and work with me, I wouldn't mind. No, no, no. I don't. Today's hardships end here. Leaving the office, I felt like I was burning up, and it took a good while to calm down, but I still couldn't figure it out. So I gulped down the rest of the Eastern leaf tea. Ugh, bitter. How did he taste sweetness? Turns out overworking really messes with your taste buds. Downstairs, the driver was indeed waiting, though the car looked familiar. It seemed like the one Larry drove to block me at the airport. Watching as Candy expertly opened the back door, I got in and casually started a conversation. Candy, is the car door fixed? Candy looked puzzled. This door's never been broken. I was shocked. Didn't Mr. G say it was last time? Candy understood. So it must have been broken if Mr. G said so. He has his reasons. Waking up, I felt refreshed. Damn, I overslept. I drank half a bottle of that tea and didn't expect it to kick in so late. I fell asleep in the wee hours. By the time I got to the office, I was already half an hour late. There goes my attendance bonus. I was almost in tears. What's up, Mandy? You look down, a colleague asked. I was late and lost my attendance bonus, I admitted. Oh, didn't you hear? There was a memo this morning. Starting now, employees get one chance to be late each month. No penalties. I sprung up from my desk. Really? No money docked. The colleague nodded. Hold up. I've always been paranoid and suspicious. Maybe I should be a boss. Every little bit of good fortune feels fishy to me. Why did Larry issue this timely memo? What's he up to? But I'm also lazy. Can't figure it out, so I let it go. A few days passed and finally, one of my job applications got a response. The HR guy's name was kind of familiar, David. When I entered the phone number, it hit me. One of my mom's matchmaking setups. We chatted a bit and he asked if we could grab lunch today and find a quiet spot to chat about the job. It wasn't easy to take time off and I missed our last meeting, so I agreed. We met at a restaurant near the office for lunch. Mom was right. David was indeed a good guy, nice to chat with. He didn't make me uncomfortable, but he was definitely mature, 20 years older than me. A bit too mature. I made it clear I wasn't interested in dating. This lunch was just me making up for last time. He understood and said we could be friends. Afterward, we went to a cafe to discuss work stuff. It went smoothly and eventually he asked, I'm quite satisfied. What do you think? The pay and perks were reasonable. I had no complaints, so I nodded. I'm satisfied. Satisfied just from one meeting? A familiar voice came from behind. Larry, what are you doing here? He pulled up a chair next to me, glaring at the guy across from me. Sounding irritated, he said, Do you even know what she likes to eat? Know that she kicks in her sleep? Know she'll lift her skirt and forget everyone? You don't know her at all. As his words grew more outrageous, I quickly stood and covered his mouth. Please stop, I whispered, pleading. No, I have to say it. He got more worked up, sounding almost wounded. I've been working overtime to lighten your load and giving you free time just to see other guys, huh? I'm here suffering while you're happy with someone else. He's met you once and can be with you. Why not me? What do I get? Is this bad luck for me? More and more people in the coffee shop were starting to notice us. I wanted to crawl into a hole. It was so embarrassing. I had no choice but to apologize to David, covering my face with one hand and Larry's with the other, dragging Larry out of the coffee shop. Finally getting Larry outside, I was out of breath. I glanced back at the coffee shop and saw no one paying attention to us anymore. Finally feeling a bit of relief. Are you okay? I asked him. What kind of crazy stunt was that in broad daylight? Larry glared as cold as ice and fired back at me. Are you okay? If I didn't already know your dad, I would have thought that man back there was him. Is this what you're settling for? You must be starving. Frustration welled up in me. No, I wasn't. I retorted. Don't even try to explain. Larry interrupted, looking furious. So you like old men now? What's the appeal? That they don't last long? They're low on energy? Or you're planning to take care of him until the end? I was annoyed, stomping my foot, feeling a headache starting. Larry looked fierce, his eyes getting red. Mandy, no matter how much you think I'm lacking, Am I not younger, better looking, and wealthier than him? How come he's okay and I'm not? I was confused and suddenly silent, crying. Larry turned his head, his tone sour. I'm not crying. Just imagining you two together hurts my eyes. Even though his words were a bit random, I felt I should explain. I am not seeing him or dating him. When I said I was satisfied, I didn't mean with him personally. Why do you think I see you as less? Larry paused, a bit awkward, but his tone softened, ignoring my question. What were you guys talking about? I hesitated. He's been working overtime to help lighten my workload while I stayed small-minded, suspecting he was out to get me. Saying it out loud would hurt, so I kept it short and simple. I applied to his company, and he was interviewing me. Larry's relaxed expression tensed again, looking at me with disbelief. Are you leaving me? I didn't know what to say. He's such a grown man, daring me to leave him but not wanting to let go. Enough. Don't say any more. Larry's voice was on the edge of breaking, and he turned to leave, throwing back. Let's leave it at this, I'll figure something out. I stood there feeling lost. That night my head was a jumble. No matter how much I tried to sort it, it didn't make sense. Luckily my best friend stopped by, so I told her everything. You're saying he thought you were on a date and made a scene? She asked. Yeah, he must have overheard my call with Mom. So I hesitated. Do you think he likes me? My friend smacked me on the head. You dense blockhead. He must like you. Why would he sleep with you and then chase you all the way to the airport? I frowned but quickly dismissed the idea. But if he liked me, why didn't he confess after that day? What did you say to him the morning after? What did I say? I told him we're both adults, it was an accident, and to just forget about it. The more I spoke, the less confident I felt. Maybe he left because I drove him away. Men have their pride. Saying that makes it clear you don't want to take responsibility. Even if he liked you, he wouldn't confess. No wonder Larry acted like a jilted lover today. So Joe, do you like him? Do I like him? All I know is when I learned I was dying, he was the first person I thought of. The night with him didn't feel like revenge. It felt like I wanted more time with him. When he said those things today, a part of me felt quietly happy. I probably do like him. I nodded, making up my mind. On Monday, I picked out a cute dress, put on some makeup, and felt a bit excited about going to work. My coworkers noticed I wasn't my usual zombie-like self, and we ended up laughing and joking around. Someone suddenly shouted, "Here comes the boss!" And everyone went quiet. Soon, Larry showed up at the office door with a girl beside him. She was young, beautiful, and wore expensive clothes and jewelry. She looked like Larry's kind of person. This is Candy, the new assistant. Get to know each other, Larry said, with an arm casually around her shoulders, looking unexpectedly affectionate as he nudged her forward. I'm Candy. Looking forward to working with you all. Everyone introduced themselves, and when it was my turn, I felt Larry's eyes on me for a moment. But when I turned to look at him, he had already shifted his gaze. After introductions, Larry led Candy to his office, glancing back at her now and then. Watching them walk away, I felt like a bucket of cold water had been dumped over me. He's never shown such care to a new assistant before or looked at a girl that way. His way of figuring something out was hiring a new assistant. Once she's settled in, will I be shown the door? The company retreat had been in the works for a couple of months, postponed because of a big project, but finally it was scheduled for this week. Larry will be there too. I was in a bad mood and wasn't planning to go, but a coworker told me the boss said the day before that unless it was absolutely necessary, everyone had to join the team-building event. Can't even avoid Larry, huh? I shouldn't have turned David down so fast. Now I can't leave even if I want to. On the day of the event I had this dead vibe around me, making dogs want to avoid me. As soon as the bus arrived, I grabbed a window seat in the back row. Colleagues started getting on the bus, and it filled up quickly, leaving only the seats next to me and in front of me reserved for the boss. Larry and Candy got on one after the other. Larry scanned the bus, landed his gaze on the seat next to me, skipped the boss's special seat, and sat beside me. I turned to look out the window, trying to disappear, but then he spoke quietly, asking, "Have you been avoiding me lately?" I casually replied, "Nope." Larry looked puzzled, furrowing his brow. "Then why do you bolt as soon as work's over, leaving work with no enthusiasm?" That's a problem. Besides, doesn't he have a new assistant to be all lovey-dovey with? What's he bugging me for? I mumbled something about a family emergency, not wanting him to continue. I stood up and cut in. I'm feeling car sick. I'll switch places with Candy up front. Honestly, I'd already taken motion sickness pills, and as long as I slept I'd be fine. But him sitting next to me was unsettling. Car sick? Hold on, I'll get a car to take you, Larry said, holding my wrist with one hand and dialing his phone with the other. Instinctively, I pulled away. No need. I'll just move to the front. The guy's got someone he likes, yet he's still messing around with me. Rich folks really know how to play games. John from admin was organizing the activities for the team building before reaching the resort. He initiated a draw for pairing everyone in the chat. 2 people made a team for tonight's games, but since the organizer doesn't participate and one colleague was out sick, we had an odd number, meaning one person would be left out. Of course, I ended up being that extra person, but honestly, I didn't mind. That evening, while they paired up for tug of war, I sat nearby munching on barbecue. John probably noticed I was alone and suggested I team up with him. Afraid he'd be too busy, I politely declined, but my colleague's persistent coaxing left me with no choice but to agree. Just before going up, someone in the crowd commented, "Seems like John's always had a crush on Mandy." I stiffened looking at John. He blushed awkwardly, changing the subject. "We should get going, the game's starting." "Whatever, I'll play this round and be done." Stepping up yet again, bad luck. I drew Larry and Candy as opponents. Am I just some NPC for their game? Feeling exasperated, I picked up the rope. Looking up, I immediately locked eyes with Larry. His dark eyes were fixed on me, colored with some unspoken irritation. With the referee's signal, both ends began pulling. Soon enough, I started to struggle. Behind me, John was being pulled forward by the rope, and we were almost glued together. Out of the blue, the tension on the rope lessened. I saw Larry's face darken as he let go of the rope with one hand, quietly watching me. I seized the moment, adjusted myself, and won the game. "You won," Larry muttered. Leaving the scene, I turned to thank John, saying I wouldn't join. In any more games, back at my seat, I fiddled with my phone. A shadow loomed over me. Someone sat next to me. Assuming it was just another colleague, I didn't pay attention. I felt sick on the bus today. Startled, I looked aside to see Larry beside me. Recalling his earlier mention, I shook my head. I slept the whole way, didn't really feel it. Larry nodded, eyes wandering somewhere as he handed me a paper bag. Brought an extra sleep aromatherapy. "It was too heavy in my luggage," he said. "You take it." I waited a bit. I didn't actually feel heavy. Might as well take it. "Thanks." After some silence, I couldn't resist asking. Candy seemed really into the tug-of-war prize. Larry replied coldly. I continued. "Didn't she mind you giving up the game?" Unfazed, he said. "She listens to me." I pouted, feeling a tinge of unexplainable jealousy. "So lovey-dovey, huh?" I muttered softly. "What?" Larry hadn't caught it. If he didn't hear, no need to repeat. Seeing my silence, Larry's brows furrowed slightly. Perhaps it was the dim light, but I thought I caught a hint of longing in his eyes. "Why keep bringing her up?" Then he said, "When pulling the rope earlier, John almost stuck right to you and you didn't budge. If I hadn't given in, you two would be the gossip topic tonight." He cleared his throat, trying to brush it off. "You're my assistant. Best to mind appearances. You know she's keen on the prize. I've quite a bit invested to keep her happy. So he's worried about my gossip hurting him. He's anxious over nothing." I sat up straighter, unfazed. "Then you shouldn't have given up." Larry hesitated, gritting his teeth. Didn't want to have John moving to Africa on impulse. How dramatic. Speak of the devil. At this moment, John approached with his notebook. Glancing at me, then at Larry, he asked, "Boss, tomorrow's activity spot had a sudden safety issue. It's under construction now. Our department's thinking of selecting a backup activity. How's that sound?" Seeing John, Larry's face darkened further. "List them. What are the options?" John was just an innocent bystander, clueless about why he had upset the boss. He swallowed hard, not daring to breathe too loudly. "Let's start with fishing," he suggested. Larry thought for a moment and shook his head. Nah, I'm scared of fishing, had a bad experience. John was taken aback. How about horseback riding? No way. Got kicked by a horse once, scared me stiff. Every time Larry spoke, he glanced at me. I was starting to suspect he was being sarcastic, but had no proof. I was sweating bullets. What about biking in the forest park? John cautiously proposed his last option. Larry thought it over and finally nodded. Yeah, that works. John heaved a sigh of relief, jotting it down in his notebook. He glanced up, sensing an odd vibe between Larry and me, and hesitated before speaking again. About Mandy. Larry frowned and interrupted him, suggesting it's best not to use nicknames like that between colleagues. John decided not to press further, said his goodbyes, and made a quick exit, so it was just me and Larry again. My heart pounded. I wanted to get out of there too before I could stand. A big hand landed on my shoulder. We need to talk. Okay. Oh great, what's there to talk about? Could it be about laying me off? I mean, I'm not gonna hang around if you want me gone that badly. Feeling frustrated, I brushed his hand off.
Nope, I'm tired.
Gonna go catch some sleep, I blurted and bolted out without looking back. I spent too much time napping in the car, so of course I couldn't sleep a wink that night. Tossing and turning, I finally took out that aromatherapy Larry had given me. It helped me drift off a bit. The next morning, I planned to head out for breakfast. As soon as I opened the door, there was someone standing there, Larry. I was surprised. What are you doing here? He glanced my way, looking relaxed and in a good mood as he handed me breakfast. Waiting for you. Waiting for me? Today's team building is biking. Shouldn't you be meeting up with Candy? Larry nodded, stuffing the breakfast into my hands. The warmth spread through my palms, chasing away the morning chill. Candy had to deal with an emergency last night and went home. John said the solo ones should pair up, so now we're teammates. Candy left, yet he was still focused on teaming up with me. Totally not a gentleman. Whatever, there'll be loads of people anyway, so we'll just go about our own stuff. But things always take unexpected turns. We got to the forest park, and Larry got a phone call. Some company contract issue came up, and the partner had to leave by afternoon, so Larry had to rush back to handle it personally. Before heading off, he kept telling me to stay safe and not to wander off alone. I assured him I would, but still, because I'm not really fit, I got pooped out pretty soon and wanted to head back for a break. I told a colleague and turned back. As luck would have it, at the corner, a small car came driving along and bam! Collided with me. We weren't going fast, but my bike was no match against a car, and I went down. Limbs all hurt. I crawled over to grab my phone off the ground with my last ounce of strength and texted my bestie. Girl, I got hit. Then everything went black. When I came around, the smell of antiseptic overpowered my senses. It took a moment to adjust to the light and scan the room. There sat Larry, eyes shut, resting in a chair beside my hospital bed. But didn't he go back to the office? How come he's here? Hearing me stir, Larry opened his eyes. Seeing me struggle to sit up, he came over, carefully steering clear of my bruises to help me up. How are you feeling? Any discomfort? I settled against the pillows and shook my head. Just my leg and arm hurt a bit, I replied. Larry exhaled, worry etching back into his brow. The doc said you've got some scrapes and a mild concussion. You need to rest up. I remember telling you to be super careful, didn't I? And still you went off alone. What if the driver had just left you there? Who'd help then? His stern tone unexpectedly stung my nose, bringing tears to my eyes. You're just always so harsh. Larry looked taken aback. I sighed. I wasn't being harsh. I retorted. Yes, you were. Right after I wake, you start lecturing me. Don't you have a heart? I broke down, tears flowing without a care for anything else. Larry stayed silent, reaching over to wipe my cheeks. When he couldn't keep up with my tears, he leaned in and kissed them away, bit by bit. I froze, forgetting to cry. His voice dropped to a gentle tone. I was just worried. You don't know how scared I was when I got your message. Message? I jolted, wanting to pull away, but his strong arm kept me close. I whispered, What message? Larry showed me the chat screen. Oh great. That message meant for my friend accidentally got sent to him. Plus, I had bestie saved as help. Clearly I'd hit my head hard. Then suddenly another thought hit me. What about your company's project? I asked. Partner left. Deal's off, Larry casually replied. I was infuriated. Are you stupid? That deal could have brought in loads of cash. Just drop it. I'm not dumb. I know what matters more. You or the deal. He tilted my chin up, forcing eye contact. His usually calm eyes now had an intense undercurrent. You're the foolish one. Is my affection still not clear to you? My heart skipped at his words. Remembering how he looked at Candy, my mood soured, and I pushed him away. And what about Candy? His sudden frown showed his surprise. What's she got to do with anything? I snorted. You like her, don't you? Just admit it. A guy like you with zero honor? Even if you were a gift, I wouldn't take you. Larry locked his gaze onto me, unwavering. Who told you I fancy her? I couldn't help but laugh in disbelief. You're the one showing her around at work, constantly looking back at her. Does anyone even need to say anything? It just naturally seems like a thing. Larry's face turned dark as ink, the veins on his forehead faintly twitching. She's my sister. The only person I've ever liked is you. Did you hear me? Well, this is awkward, isn't it? I said sheepishly. Larry was patient. She's my little aunt's kid. She's graduated and causing trouble at home every day. So my mom asked me to get her a job. I was short-handed, so I had her come to my company. And I wasn't constantly looking back at her. I was looking at you looking at me. Yeah, you looked so pretty that day. What's wrong with sneaking a glance? Larry said it with such conviction. Now I was the one confused. I'm saying it again, Mandy. It's you I've liked for a long time. That night I was tipsy, sure, but not so out of it that I had no clue. I planned on confessing the next day, but when I woke up you were gone, telling me to forget everything. Who was I supposed to talk to about this? It took me ages to coax you back. I was scared you'd bolt again, so I lessened your work to keep you around. But your reduced workload had to be done by someone, so I was stuck working overtime. And there I was, working myself to the bone for you, while you were secretly looking for another job. He gave me a reproachful look. My bestie was right. This was the... I went back home thinking about it for a long time. This couldn't go on. I needed to keep an eye on you to stop you from doing anything that would upset me. Just when my mom wanted me to find Candy a job, I personally helped her get acquainted with work just to free my evenings for you. Who knew you'd think I liked Candy and would purposely avoid me because of it? I felt so unjustly treated. After he finished speaking, the hospital room fell silent. I sat there dumbfounded, digesting his words. Turns out he hasn't changed how he feels. He's always liked me. We're such fools, wasting so much time over a misunderstanding. Sensing I wasn't speaking, Larry lowered his head in defeat. His voice was softer. Sorry, did I scare you? I get it, you don't like me. It's okay, you don't have to feel obligated. But could you give me a chance? Before he could finish, I wrapped my arms around his neck and kissed his forehead. Before he had time to react, I pulled back a bit and looked him in the eyes. There's something I need to come clean about. Actually, that day it wasn't that my mind was unclear. It was because I was wrongly diagnosed with cancer. You made me work late and I was pissed. So I wanted to get back at you. At first, I didn't want to take responsibility, but during this time, I figured out my own feelings. Larry, I like you too, so I'll take responsibility completely. Larry was slightly stunned, then looked at me and smiled, relieved. Good thing for fate's missteps. Yeah, thank goodness for that. I kissed him on the forehead, then trailed down to his lips. Larry quickly took over, capturing my mouth. I was kissed so thoroughly I lost my sense of direction when a mischievous hand started sliding up my shirt. I snapped back and pulled away slightly. You said you've liked me for a long time, so why did you make me work overtime every day? Thinking back to everything, I was a bit indignant and pinched him. Larry winced in pain and grinned at me. Seriously, I was alone for so long. I didn't know how to like someone. I just thought I could spend more time with you. It's different now. I pushed him away. What's different with you? I'm no longer alone. Due to Larry's insistence, I took a whole week off at home before returning to work. After finishing lunch and getting back to the office, Candy hurried over to me looking aggrieved. Sis-in-law, you have no idea how crazy my brother is. It turned out that night Larry deliberately lost the tug-of-war competition. Candy caused such a ruckus, and Larry had to shell out to calm her down. The prize for winning wasn't worth much, and it wasn't even guaranteed they'd win. But Candy didn't expect Larry wouldn't lose out. He retaliated by telling her parents she had a boyfriend who wasn't just a friend. Candy was dragged back home overnight and lectured for days. That led to Larry being alone the next day, so he teamed up with me. Thinking back, he really was devious. This guy is vindictive. You better watch out and not let him take advantage of you. Mandy, a voice came from the doorway, making Candy dash away, with Larry coldly watching her until she was out of sight. Then he turned back to me, raised an eyebrow. Don't listen to her. I found it amusing and teased him. But she's speaking the truth. Truth, my foot. I think she doesn't have enough work to do. That's why she has time to gossip. I'll be sending her on a business trip next week. It took a moment for it to sink in before I burst into laughter. Larry gazed at me intensely, then smacked his palm lightly on my forehead, pulling me along. It's lunchtime. Come rest in my office. My face turned red and I tried to refuse. I'm not tired. No need to rest. Without looking back, Larry said, come anyway. Keep me company. Larry still had some work to finish up. He handed me a tablet and a cup of water, letting me watch a show while I reclined on the sofa. Once an episode ended, I got bored and started playing around with the tablet's camera. I accidentally glanced at the photo album and found a screenshot from a forum. Someone with the nickname had posted, "The person I like initiated sleeping with me, but the next morning they left and told me to forget about it. What's up with that?" The top comment in the section read, "Probably because you were terrible in bed. She had such a bad experience she's desperate to cut ties." No way. She has no experience, and I even said I'd have to teach her hands-on. Sorry, bro. Right now that girl and her besties are probably having a laugh at your expense. I tried not to smile, pulled out my phone and searched for that account online. I looked forever, found the account, but the post was gone. I can just imagine Larry deleting that post, keeping it cool on the surface but totally falling apart inside. What are you doing? Larry silently appeared behind me, making me jump and spilling water all over myself. He squinted at the screen, his narrow eyes looking dangerously intense. Playing it cool, I asked him, "You deleted the post? Why'd you keep the screenshot?" Larry had already slipped around the couch, sitting right next to me, close enough to touch. To remind myself, I paused and he leaned into my ear saying, "Next time it'll be even better." I could feel the heat from his body, my face blushing hard. Honestly, no need to get better. It's already enough. Seriously, he's way too amazing, almost too amazing. After that day, my legs were shaking for a whole day. Not enough? He chuckled softly, tipped my chin and kissed me deeply. When he finally pulled away, a little breathless, he whispered in my ear, his voice all husky, "Mandy, I see your clothes are wet. Want me to help you get them off?" I feel like I've heard this line somewhere before. No time to think, I quickly stopped his hands. "No, we can't. Strictly business, no emotions involved. Didn't you say, Mandy, you take full responsibility? You take responsibility for me. I'll see it through." Outside, the sun blazed. Inside, it was a storm. A year later, Larry and I got married. On the day we got our license, it started pouring. Rain fell relentlessly. Larry went out in the rain to get the car while I waited at the civil affairs office entrance. Soon enough, he walked through the rain with a black umbrella, becoming clearer in my sight with every step. He looked at me, his eyes calm and gentle, reaching out his hand. "Honey, let's go home." I thought, whenever I face unbearable storms in the future, there'll be no rush. Someone will always be there to shield me. So I began to feel grateful for the long years ahead.